What's up, folks? It's your boy Tone, and we're back with another episode of What's Happening with Indies, where I take a little time and interview some of these cool developers you see me posting on their games during the week. So, with that being said, we got a special guest with us, our brother Khaleem. Now, dude, I want to make sure I get your name correct. How do I
Yeah,
pronounce your full name? Can you help me out?
yeah. It's just Khaleem Poole-Tejada. It's both our
Okay,
last names hyphenated, so Poole-Tejada.
Khaleem Poole-Tejada.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, my brother. That's what I needed. Okay. So how you doing today, my man?
Busy as ever, man. Finishing up this boss design with Briggs and really just putting it all together, waiting to put this Unreal and get this up in the demo. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I feel you, man. I feel you. Now I seen on your Steam page, this is your first game, I'm assuming.
yeah. This is my first solo dev game.
Okay.
I worked in the game industry for quite a while, off and on. Like I guess you could say two large cycles.
Okay.
And I used to work for let's see, Scholastic, Gameloft, Rockstar back in the early 2000s when everything was still budding.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so it was that, and then jump back in. I want to say during the second era, and that was around the X360, PS3 time, and that's when I was with THQ Chaos Studios.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
yeah, so we were making Frontlines, Fuel of War, and Homefront, and that's when I learned the Unreal 3.5 environment at the time. Shout out to old Chaos Studios fellas.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Man, THQ has some of the greatest games we've ever played, man. I hate how things have happened with them.
Yeah, man. We had, especially with front lines, we had a lot of fun with that design.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that happened in between there, but as far as how we, it was budding initially, yeah.
Oh man, that's so dope, man. And what other games have you worked on? Any you
Oof.
want to let us know?
Well, I mean, it was more so I got a chance to when I got a chance to work on everything. It was during besides the late phases with THQ, I
Uh
got to
huh.
do some early work when I was at Rockstar, and that was like early design phase for like the very early design phase of like a concept of Oni 2.
Okay.
And that's when I actually had my legendary heroes design document I first presented to them back in 2000 2001.
Yeah.
And I kind of used the concepts that I was using there for what I wanted to do with Oni 2, but that wasn't really a priority, so that got canned. And that also at the time, I think we were working with Flash technology, so I was probably going to have to learn Flash at the time, and I didn't know. So, but I was, it was still like the junior developer phase for me.
Yeah.
And then I got to work on some early design doc reference work for like Midnight Club 2 when it was first in its first alpha phases.
Oh man, that's
What else?
history right there. Love
Yeah,
Midnight Club.
yeah, especially the way the series has evolved now. So it's like
Yeah,
it's really cool.
dude, that's
Um,
dope, man.
yeah,
That's
it
so
was a
dope.
lot. And then it was a, like from there it was mostly like a lot of lead testing slash semi design with like State of Emergency, Rune Viking Warlord.
Oh, classics.
Yeah, PS2
Yes.
versions of Max
Yes.
Payne. Let's see,
Oh man.
Smugglers Run Warzones on GameCube. I pretty much did like all the PS2 stuff at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
Man,
was
that is so cool, bro.
yeah,
That
it was
is
all the
so
early
cool.
stuff. It wasn't like before it was Vice City, and then after that, before Vice City, I had jumped out of there. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, man. That's really dope, man. And you know, you brought up your game, your legendary heroes. A
oh
game
yeah,
of death is what you're working on now. I mean,
oh yeah.
are 2D beat 'em up something you've always wanted to create?
So yeah, honestly, yeah. It that is a story. That is a I guess that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so basically legendary heroes comes from honestly a lot of anger.
Yeah.
A lot of anger because I initially didn't I was mostly into just wanting to be a comic book artist, and I was trying
hmm
to find myself back then in like the I'm gonna say like the early 90s and whatnot.
Yeah.
But of course a hardcore gamer, hardcore into what was then considered to be Japanimation
Uh-huh. Yep.
before we used the official terminology of anime and whatnot.
hmm
Um, so I think the it factor for me was probably when I snapped my Mortal Kombat 3 disc from the PlayStation because I was just so tired of the crap AI, the shit AI, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the second offending thing, because it was around the same time, because the Super Nintendo was at its zenith and the early PlayStation was still out at the time, so people
Mm-hmm.
forget. So I think the hot shit around that time was like what Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This was like the super powered like Super Nintendo phase at that point. It was like the last.
Yeah.
It was like Chrono Trigger, Yoshi's Island, and Final Fight 3. Those are like pushing the Super Nintendo to its max.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
And in hindsight, everybody loves Final Fight 3.
Yeah.
I fucking hated it. I fucking hated it.
Why, man? What made you hate it?
So how do I explain this? When Final Fight 3 dropped, you got to remember SNK had a lot of dope shit in the arcade.
Absolutely.
A
Yes.
lot of evolutions with the 2D beat 'em ups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think no, I don't remember. I think no, Sega Saturn was later because then Guardian Hero was later. But that was later because then I started getting more influence in how to do it even more advanced level. But at that phase, I'm thinking about that for that phase. What else was happening? It was mostly that, and I just couldn't take it anymore because I felt like even at that time, a lot of stuff was getting watered down, especially I guess on the SNES, and it was great stuff on the Genesis. But I felt like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just they were waiting to have all of this stuff with the new super attacks and the new abilities, and then it came
Uh-huh.
out, and I was like, this is like worse than Streets of Rage 3. It's like I was supposed to like this because it got capped. I was pissed, and I was just ranting on and on and on for like an hour on my boy's porch. My boy Reg, he's actually helping write Legendary Heroes right now, and he was like, "You should fucking start making a game or whatever." And I started really, I got serious into it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was just drawing out the concepts, typing up character profiles, like tons and tons and tons of them. I probably still have them on zip disks.
Uh-huh.
And then that's when I met up with my other boy, Derwin and Calvin. And then we were part of another crew. And that's when I started to get serious about like writing things down, learning computer color at the time, which was innovative at the time. This is like, you got to remember, it's like the early 90s.
Computer color. Okay, what is
Yes.
that?
Well, that's what we know. It's Photoshop today.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
so I was learning what computer color was, and then Photoshop 4 was out, not CS. I'm talking about 4, officially like Photoshop 4. So
Oh,
we was like, I
okay.
think we was in like in Windows 9, like early Windows 95 days.
Man.
So yeah, this is around the time people forget that a lot of black nerds who were hybrids like myself, Derwin,
Mhm.
my boy Devon Cooper, who was famous in New York for a lot of like game design development type stuff at the time. We were all hybrids, so we were already on PC and console. So the whole thing with people doing PC and console, and I was like, okay, I was bootlegging stuff on PC back then because I couldn't afford
Really?
it. Like, yeah, so I was like, dude, when everybody was getting ready for the PS2, I was already playing the early versions of EPSXE on 1024 by 768 and playing PS1 emulation on PC by then.
What? Dude,
And,
how was that? How did you even do that?
because you got to remember, a lot of stuff was always optimized for its time, so like we
Mhm.
have 32 gigs or 64 gigs of RAM back then. I'm gonna
Mhm.
know now today, right? Back then, like 10 megabytes of RAM was a huge deal because
Yeah.
consoles are running on like 1 or 2 megabytes. So for
Right.
PC, 10 megabytes is a lot.
Yeah.
So what I can do on a monitor that's 1024 by 768 that for a console that can only render at like what, 500 by 400 or something at best,
Yeah.
640 by 480 on his best day for the PlayStation 1.
Uh-huh.
That was awesome. So I was already playing Gran Turismo 1 and 2 emulation and saving my save files. I was already doing the stuff on GT Planet and downloading a lot of the bootlegs, and we was having like F1 tires on like a Honda Civic on Gran Turismo 2. Man,
What? Man,
that's
that is
when
crazy.
so when I'm trying to talk about people that's like hardcore gamers, we like hardcore gamers. My boy, when I was playing, let me think, Street Fighter Alpha 1 and was learning the chain combos,
Uh-huh.
Derwin was literally sitting to the left of me playing Wing Commander on PC. And
What?
he was already playing with like the early versions of the Logitech Boomerang controllers, and he was going back and forth trying to figure out and getting pissed off because he was trying to bind his keys between the keyboard and the shitty D-pad. He's like, I wish I had the PlayStation or the Saturn controller on PC. Back then, that's when it was like using like 3D effects, voodoo cards, SCSI controllers, PS2 controllers to the PC. Not PS2
Wow,
PlayStation, but
man.
like PS2, a profile for PC. So again, we had to be our own IT. We had to do all of that stuff. So it was like a hybrid world. So when I see people like, oh, consoles is dying and PC is happening, I was like, okay, So like,
Right, right.
like I don't care. Like I was already here. I've already
Yes.
seen the cycle once, twice, three times, babe.
Yeah,
And then when I was
man.
working at THQ, I got to work in the SDK field of that. I'm like overlapping, but
No, dude, that
a,
is
a
that
lot of
is
that stuff,
amazing.
yeah, it's a lot of that stuff led me to getting into game design, learning how to get into things when the internet first was getting hot. So we was on 56K, and then figuring out, seeing like early versions of like work coming out of Japan back in the 56K days.
Mhm.
Boy, Calvin, he worked at MTV at the time, so we used to go over there on the weekends, and he was doing some programming, and we would use some of the side computers, the free computers, and using their corporate lines, which is beyond 56K at the time. We were literally in Times Square when TRL was happening at the time. So, but this is on a weekend. So,
Bro.
but it was, like Sundays is dead, so there's nothing
Yeah,
happening.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like we had access to the studio, blah, blah, blah. It was crazy. So, in hindsight, when you think about it, it's like we did a lot of crazy shit.
Bro, that's
So,
fucking dope. That's
so
history, my
yeah.
man.
So
Damn.
when we had to download a Napster song, it was like 20, 30 minutes. But on his line, it took
Yeah.
like 3 minutes for like 5 songs. Back then, that was
Oh,
awesome.
man.
You got to remember back
Yes,
then.
yes.
So there was a lot of hybrid stuff going through that. I was learning a lot of game design there. Um, Gamma Sutra was in its early phases in the 56K days, but it was around.
Yeah.
So I was reading that. I was reading a lot of books, a lot of magazines. So I was like putting all that knowledge together and essentially built up a binder. And that's when I was
Mhm.
making the characters for like this other beat 'em up I wanted to do. That's where Briggs came in. I have several other characters for that. And then, blah, 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 blah. Late 90s, early 2000s, started getting into working with another group. And that's where I met Dave Cotton. God bless his soul. He was the one that gave me the idea. He was a huge Xbox head, so we used to always bump heads
Yeah.
because I was more of a PlayStation head, because I told him at the time PlayStation reminded me of what Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were doing, but if it was in the new generation.
Mhm.
And I spoke at the time, and it's funny because God bless his soul, but I was right, Dave. The lack of creativity is going to kill Microsoft. I said that in the long run. They
Absolutely.
cannot buy their
Absolutely.
way out of everything. I said that in the early days.
Yes, yes,
But
yes,
it was
man.
easy to forget because the Xbox 360 was like Xbox 360 was Microsoft's Sony era.
Yes.
They had everything right. The controller,
Yep,
infrastructure, everything was dope.
yep, man,
I love
everything.
my 360 way more than my PS3. But it's like it was like they only had like that small window. But let the flash forward, blah blah blah. But anyway, around the time Dave gave me the idea, do something simpler if you think you're so good at it. But because we used to have like game design competitions on the weekends and jut down stuff conceptually. I
Yeah.
think at the moment the most tools we had was like 3D RPG Maker on PlayStation and MTV Music Generator. So, but we're
Wow.
using those tools, and it's like, okay, let me just extract that to an MP3. My boy Phil Ruffin, he would like get my files from the music generator from the PlayStation. We would just have it on PlayStation. He would have it on a splitter, or AV splitter, and then we would basically I would play it back, and he would record it as an MP3, and I would just use that.
Yeah.
So like some of the files, some of the songs that you hear that are lo-fi in Legendary Heroes now are literally the tracks that I made in MTV Music Generator back then.
Bro, that's cool, man. That's dope. You're able to bring that history forward, man, and
Yeah,
use
the,
it
the
as
zip,
something you're
zip
making.
zip drives, man. Zip drives, zip discs, man. I love them. I just saw a thread. Somebody Japanese said, "Does anybody actually use these?" I was like, man, if it wasn't for zip drives, half the animations for the bosses and Legendary Heroes I did 25 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to recover them. I would have. So it's like,
Damn.
yes, zip drives. So yeah,
Damn, dude. Like,
that's a
that's
convoluted story, but
cool,
that's how
man.
overall with game design, man. It's a yeah.
Dude, that is so dope, man. That's so much history, man. Like, cause I mean, I was born in '91, so my first start on gaming was SNES,
Mm,
and so a lot of that stuff, I was too young to even get into. So I'm still playing, like Six Pack and Golden Axe and Double Dragon and shit like that. But I didn't even know, like, man, because I just remember seeing, like I remember modding my PS1, and I would
yeah.
go and rent games from Blockbuster and just burn them.
That was the death of the Dreamcast. We forget.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
forget because
dude.
people was like, "Oh, the Dreamcast also died because all mad of us was bootlegging."
Bro, bootlegging the hell out
A
of it,
lot of us were. I say us
man.
because I was doing it too. I'm sorry, saying, but
Absolutely, dude.
we was broke, man. We was broke.
Yes, yes, bro. Yes, dude. Oh my god, dude. That's how I was making my money. Like,
Mm,
I
yep.
was I was burning games, $20 a pop, Oh man, what a
My
good
boy used
time.
to do that. He used to do that for DVDs and games.
Yeah.
And on X, especially on Xbox One, the original Xbox. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That was a burning mod, just bootleg heaven. Jesus
Man,
Christ.
I didn't even know people were still burning games on
Ooh,
there.
dude, the Xbox, my boy Jason, yo, I learned how to do video compression through Jason. My boy Jason Nurse. I hope that came out his next government. It's too late now. It's years later, okay?
Right, right,
But
right.
okay, so around that time, like exactly around that time, when you're talking about burning, people's doing it, the Dreamcast and the Xbox.
Yeah.
Around, I'm going to say the second generation of the first Xbox, people figured out how to crack it, and then a lot of that stuff was online. Remember, we had DSL lines, we had
Hmm.
decent internet back then. We had broadband,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you was able to download a lot of those crack keys, and you was able to do it to the Xbox because the Xbox was online. It had a hard drive.
Uh-huh.
And he bricked his Xbox like at least 2 or 3 times. He was able to recover it. But he was able to get it done to the point where it was, first off, he was able to install every game to the hard drive, regardless of the restrictions. That was one. Because people forget not every game on the Xbox you was able to install. You was able to install cache, not the game. Well, at his, you install the whole goddamn game. That was one. So he already had that before that became a standard today.
Yeah.
Two, he had media players. So he was able to watch movies. He had mad
Bro.
anime, mad porn. Yeah, it was crazy. And he was making mad guap off it. He was making a lot of money
Yeah.
off of it. DVDs, because the Xbox was able to play DVDs, and then he had like a lot of burning. So he was making money off
Man.
of, off of jailbreaking people's Xboxes, setting up a whole new. He
What?
had custom OS. Oh my God.
What?
And this was around the MySpace era. So custom operating systems and screens was like the shit back then.
What?
So he was like the custom OSs on the X. He had like 20 different OSs. People would they would order it. So it was whatever was based on like the boards that was available, of course, because he wouldn't even design it himself. He would just get what was available, what was available, he would cook up for it.
Yeah.
So it was a man. He made a lot of money. His boy made a lot of. His boy made a lot. He's the one. I used to go to his house, and what was it? We was playing Third Strike, and I was beating his ass.
I
But
remember
it didn't
Third Strike.
matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter because I went to his house. His dresser just had knots of cash. I thought he was a drug dealer. He's like, nah, this is from the DVDs and Xboxes. He's like, I'm like, what? He's like, that's from the DVDs and the Xboxes. And I was like, oh my God. Yo.
Bro, he was making bank. Man, that is so
Bank,
dope,
bro.
man.
I
Oh man.
got black nerds just finding ways to bootleg, survive, and hustle then too, man. It's always been a culture, especially if you're from New York. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah, man. See, I grew up in North Carolina, and I was, man, like we had people around that played video games, but I was the only one that was like in our small neighborhood that was
Mm,
really into video games.
right.
So it wasn't that many of us where I was from, but damn, man, I can only imagine having homies like that, yo. I was,
Yeah, because you got to remember, like it was definitely a New York thing, and then
yeah.
I'm gonna say it was an East Coast thing because I knew people was in Jersey and Connecticut. So anything that's happened in New York, it spreads around in the
Uh
tri-state
huh.
area.
Uh huh.
But yeah, man, like a lot of black nerds from the late '80s to the '90s to the 2000s, we like kept morphing into different versions, and I knew dudes that was doing like the bootleg Dreamcast and Xbox games in game stores, in local game stores.
What?
Oh yes,
Man,
dude. One of the
damn.
biggest, one of the most local. He's closed now. God bless his soul. Games and James over in Times Square. He used to have celebrities coming over there and buying games and buying the bootlegs on Dreamcast. Celebrities and you think I'm joking, bro?
What,
You think
man?
I'm kidding? I have bootlegs of Ikaruga from Games and James, and it was the repackaging because it was the same business in Chinatown. So
Uh
they were
huh.
doing Chinatown, it was in Games and James, people in the hood, everybody's doing the same thing, just in one way or another, burning the games, selling it, jailbroken console, selling it in the local area. It was its own economy. They had what else? Neo Crash, Kingsbridge
Yeah.
Road and Fordham Road. We had they specialized oddly enough in all SNK and Neo Geo games. I think they had like one Capcom game, and it was Marvel vs. Capcom 1 at the time.
Yeah.
But all their games was like they had like 4 or 5 like Neo Geo freaking cabinets. They had a whole bunch of like I didn't even know King of Fighters had anime back then. They had King of Fighters anime VHS tapes.
What?
And
That was an anime, King of
oh yeah,
Fighters.
yeah.
What?
That's what I found out because it was an SNK store in the Bronx. Go figure.
What?
Yeah, it's a theme store. It wasn't like official, but they should have been. Really, they really should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, man, listen, like a lot of that's why I sometimes I'm mean about it, but I can't help it. I laugh on some level too. Sometimes I feel like how self-absorbed and spoiled the Toonami generation of anime fans are.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's like, first off, you guys got it very easy. Like you had
Yes.
everything that there's a huge internet pipeline. You got it around a time where the internet's already in your hands, and you
Uh-huh.
had it. So that was, but like the culture around it, first off, was very different because the Japanese economy was different. So it was
Hmm.
translating different here in America. I got to, we got to see the last phases of that as 80s babies.
Yeah.
So what they're getting now not only is easy access, but really watered down. Like really watered down. Like, did you know that they were Dragon Ball collecting cards?
No.
See what I
What?
mean? See what I mean? We had
What?
Dragon Ball exactly like around Chinatown here in New York. We used to cut school all the time. We used to jump out of school and either go to the library, and I was drawing, hanging out with my boys. Yes, I literally used to go to the library and draw and cut class. Or we would go to Chinatown. It's like, yo, new Dragon Ball came out. And even if we couldn't find it on like one of the UHF channels and just get it real fuzzy or whatever and watch it, and usually had Chinese subtitles. And around that time it was like Doctor Slump, then first generation of Dragon Ball Z. And then when the P Cell saga started, that's when it was getting hot. And it was like, yo,
Yeah.
let's go to Chinatown. We got the tapes down there. And we used to get like all the tapes from Chinatown. Oh my God. It was especially around Elizabeth Center. It was like the video stores were so rich back then, bro. So rich, so many of them,
Man.
and they all had vending machines. Like you put in like a quarter or a dollar, and they were Dragon Ball cards that came out in random in the little bubbles. So we had binders of like, oh, like the Frieza one. Oh, I got freaking, and especially when Super Saiyan 3, you can tell I'm old school. I say Saiyan.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh. I
but
can tell.
Super Saiyan Goku came out. When those cards came out, and then they had the holographic one, yo, we used to like motherfuckers used to get into fights over them. Yo,
What, bro?
yo, you got to understand the what I don't appreciate about current generations is that they completely forget about the stuff that just happened before them. Not even like old school, like
Yeah.
literally like 5-10 years. Like
Right,
there's a
right.
whole nexus of a different culture of
It
anime
is.
fans, especially in the States because the Japanese economy was different and it was fed differently. So once
Yeah.
the internet became a norm, stuff is in their hands. The
Hmm.
post Toonami generation, everything became like it was totally topsy turvy. So it's almost as if nothing existed before them in their
Yeah.
psyche, which is insane because then how would you explain Dragon Ball Z or GT? It's like or the
Facts,
culture
facts.
behind it.
Facts, man. Facts.
Like most people don't know the Ghost in the Shell, the original anime by Mamoru Ishii, didn't premiere in Japan. It premiered in New York.
It premiered in New York
Yes,
first?
at Anime Crash, and we were there for the launch of it, and we got to meet him.
What?
You see what I'm talking
Bro, that
about?
is so
And that was around the
dope,
time when
man.
the last Tower Records was around, and that was around Alphabet City in the city.
Man, that is so dope, man. Like, what is it specifically about? I know we're supposed to be talking about games, but we talk about anime right now.
Yeah, it's the whole culture. That's what got me here. So yeah, go on, please.
Man, like, because I've watched Ghost in the Shell
Mm,
plenty, and it's something about the way it's animated
yeah,
or it's the art style.
yeah.
It, I don't know what it is, but it stands out differently to me. Like, is that,
Sincerity, the idea of sincerity,
huh?
somebody said something about it and it's true, but it's not even just a thing with Western creators, I want to say, because it's like film, games. I've come from film background also, so it was like I got to see a lot of sides of it. The
Yeah,
loss of sincerity is across the board, and that's with a lot of the culture in Japan, in the States. Almost every first world developed culture has lost its sense of sincerity, and
yeah,
that goes
yeah,
into the storytelling. Everything is cynical, everything is an imitation, like if we're talking about Japanese language as far as the culture, everything is otaku no video. Like if
mhm,
you gotta watch that anime, like otaku no video. It was basically a parody of the otaku lifestyle of Japan and how it started from like the 60s to the 80s. And it's a whole
yeah,
anime, but it's literally it's a true story though. And it's basically totally cynical, breaking fourth wall, but almost everything in anime is like that now. You see that in most
Yeah.
isekai, you see that in American stuff.
Hmm.
So the loss of sincerity in the animation, the characters, the design, the world lore, everything is just gone.
Yeah.
And when you see in
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell, it's not just the animation quality, but the pauses. The camera sits. It
Yeah,
lets you
man.
breathe. You look at every frame. Look at the first frames when it starts with the opening song. The opening
Yes.
song is 20 minutes,
Yes.
but it's beautiful. You don't want to skip it. When I put it on,
Facts.
yeah,
Facts.
it's like skipping the opening to Ghost in the Shell is like skipping a fine piece from Tchaikovsky
Yes,
or a
man.
fine piece from Miles Davis. Like you don't fucking press fast forward,
Oh man. Yeah.
and that's the way they were meant to be, genuine art pieces, genuine pieces that you could put
Yes.
in a time capsule. And today's anime, for the most part, even the films are not that. Even
Hmm.
the best films that are coming out,
Hmm.
they're just not that. They don't have that sense of sincerity in the cinematography, in almost anything. You see it a little bit. Like I just watched Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw.
Mappa animated that, and they're fantastic. And there was
Chainsaw
some,
Man.
yeah, it's a great series. But I watched the film,
Hmm.
and I felt like it was trying to be too sincere to the point it was a little obnoxious, because there was really nothing that happened in like the first hour of this damn
Yeah.
thing. But the animation is exquisite. And I was like, okay, see, now you're trying to imitate the quality of French animation. And French animation is like really rich animation, but
Uh-huh.
they also, it's also based on European cinematography. So they let, frames sit for long periods of time, frames breathe, and it's beautiful, but it's a very intrinsic style. You see it with Italian films, French films, and it's also in the same with animation.
Yeah.
So Chainsaw Man gives that off, but it's like, yeah, but this is the wrong genre, motherfucker. I want to see him beat some ass. I'm not asking for an anime Maggie Chung piece. Like that's
Right,
not what I'm
right.
asking for. So, but I get where they were going. So, but they were trying to have that sincerity, and I appreciate that. So that's also why I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what Science Saru is about to do for what do you call it? The Ghost in the Shell series they're about to do.
Are they about to do a series? I haven't
Yeah.
heard about that.
Yeah, it looks good because it looks like they're bridging the gap between the way the Mamoto Ishii film was,
Hmm.
but Masamune Shiro's actual work from the manga. And I'm a fucking huge fan of Masamune Shiro. Like he influenced like my whole style of sketch work, of how I do line work, comes from him and Takehiko Inoue. They're like my big influences with that. And I
Oh,
didn't realize,
dope.
especially Masamune Shirow, especially in, like my teens, my horny teens, like especially him.
Yeah.
I collect the like Masamune Shirow is basically, he does a lot of hentai. Like people really, he does a lot of hentai.
Really?
Man, dude, the Intron Depot for Ghost in the Shell, the Japanese version has this whole. I'm not going to say it on air. Let's just say that Motoko Kusanagi is a freak. She's a freak, and some nasty stuff. They took it out the English one. I got both. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
Okay.
Let's just say that I was a teen. We're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah,
But Masamune
yeah.
Shirow, but like his work, like Ghost in the Shell, Appleseed, and so many other things. Like I was a huge fan of his work. The way he drew worlds, the way he made like assertive, dope freaking women, but making all the characters dope at the same time.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a whole other thing now with like
yeah.
people bugging out with like drawing feminine expression and just
Hmm.
destroying. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, I was, man. This, like I said, long history when it comes to that, of being into that world. But
Man,
Jesus,
man, speaking with you about this, it's like because I've recently just started playing the Metal Gear Solid series for the first time ever,
nice.
and what you're saying about the attention to just the art and the care and the sincerity of the art, I see that in Hideo Kojima in the way
Oh
that
yeah,
he does that, and I'm like, I would love. I need to watch some interviews because I'm pretty sure a lot of these people have probably influenced
man.
the way that he makes.
Hideo, I love Hideo, but Hideo is he annoys me. You know why he annoys me,
Why?
bro?
Why he annoys you, bro?
You know why he annoys me, bro?
Why he do?
Like Hideo Kojima. One day, if you hear this, please, please, Make a fucking film, bro.
He
Make a
wants to
movie.
so bad. He wants
But,
to
but
so bad.
he wants to, but he just won't pull the trigger. And the problem is that he spends so much money on making these games that are films, but
Yes.
they eclipse the budget of an indie film that he could do with the
Yes.
same effects and like half the budget.
Yep, bro. Yeah.
But he loves him some European actors, boy.
Yeah, he does,
He
dude.
loves it
He
like
does.
but he's a very much an indie film buff. He's very like
He
he
is,
bleeds it, bro.
man.
It's all
He
over his
is.
work. You know, love him or hate him for like people like what their opinions are about his story and his lore. He is an auteur. He is
He
absolutely
is,
an
man.
auteur.
Like, and these games are still like, I'm just playing it for the first time this year, 2026, and I'm still blown away
Mm,
by this shit. And I'm just like, man, because you don't see that much in gaming
yeah.
nowadays of somebody that just cares. Like you can tell he just cares.
Yes.
Like you can
Yes.
you
He
can
cares
just
too
see.
much sometimes. Shoot.
Man, some of the scenes, it's a lot of dialogue, and I'm like, buddy, well, I'm trying to play a game here,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, but even still, like well, yeah, with that, but like he cares so much at times that like that's the reason why he had to leave Konami.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
it's like, and can I understand because Konami was on some F shit,
they was on some F shit,
you know,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
they ended up paying the price for it, and now they still eating off of his name, like all these remakes
Yes,
and whatnot. It's like, that's what Tecmo's
uh-huh,
doing. God bless Itagaki, but Tecmo's doing the same to Itagaki. They
yeah,
did the same shit to Itagaki.
yeah,
So that's why I got mad salt for both Tecmo and Konami, modern Tecmo and modern day Konami, my
yeah.
nigga.
Hey,
Because both of
man,
them back in the day, they used to be so fucking dope, bro. So dope.
Konami was just dropping classic after classic, man. It was,
Yeah, man.
yeah, I grew up on Konami, man. That was an amazing time. But man, let's get back to your game, dude.
Yeah, because these are
Man,
all the influences that got me here. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely, my man. Now, Legendary Heroes, a game of
Yes.
death, high speed beat 'em up with hardcore arcade action, with
Yes.
skill based gameplay, with 90s anime flair.
That's right.
Man, so how long have you been working on this game specifically? Like I remember you said you pitched it to a studio
Right.
before. So I mean, how did this idea come about?
Well, excuse me. So this was honestly the idea of David Cotton, God bless his soul. He was the one that gave me the challenge and said, instead of making so complicated as this, like I can't say the name out loud because I'm just most likely going to be where this is going to be for the next one.
Okay, gotcha,
Um,
gotcha, gotcha.
Instead of doing XYZ, why don't you do something simple? Why don't you make something smaller?
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, what should I do? He's like, well, he's like, well, why don't you do something else, motherfucker? Why don't you remake Kung Fu Master? And I was like, that's a good fucking idea. Let me
Yeah.
remake Kung Fu Master. So I was looking at everything regarding Kung Fu Master, and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna end up doing it my way, which is not where I say my way is better. But what I like to do is to play the part of if I had the I don't know, if I had the license,
Hmm.
right? How could I have a happy medium of taking it to the next level of where it could be and paying respects to where it came from by
Yeah.
building off of where it came from and not dropping it as if it was some archaic shit and it never was. And
Right.
that's what I hate about with a lot of I'm not for nothing. I can't stand a lot of modern indie 2D games where they just go the whole way of modern game design and forget that friction and challenge is the point.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
But that's a
Absolutely.
whole other thing. We'll get into that. Shout out to Spider SDG on that one. But what I mean to say is, Legendary Heroes is now at this point is a little bit more so beyond. But I wanted it to be where if I had to take Kung Fu Master
Hmm.
and I looked into the history of it, I said, okay, what else was about Kung Fu Master that made it dope? You know, who is Thomas? Who is Sylvia? Mr. X? Blah 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 blah. And then I found that the Japanese version was called Spartan X. And I was like, okay, so I looked at that, but the Japanese version had a different looking character.
Hmm.
And this is when I was even younger. I knew this a little bit then. So I found out who the character was. I was like, that's Jackie Chan. I was like, wait, what? Jackie Chan? That didn't make any sense. I looked it up. Spartan X is the Japanese name for the movie Wheels on Meals.
Oh, really?
I looked up Wheels on Meals. This is one of the best motherfucking movies ever. Oh my
Wheels on Meals. Let me see.
God, yes. Yo, you're gonna hear me
Wheels
fan out
on
a little bit.
Meals.
Wheels on Meals.
Okay.
Jackie Chan. Whew, let me calm down. Jackie Chan versus Benedict Jeter Urquidez. One of the best fighting scenes ever made. Oh my! When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's why they made a game." Oh, okay. And this is the '80s. Okay, I get it. All right. So, how do I take the lore that was Wheels on Meals and fuse it? Well, I don't understand the tower thing, but then I saw, oh, okay, the tower was a reference to Bruce Lee's Game of Death. So they combined it. They were using Jackie Chan's world lore. They were using Jackie Chan's characters because the girl Sylvia is the girl Sylvia in the movie also, but in the movie Sylvia is a thief.
Hmm.
And Jackie's character Thomas, he has his other best friend who's I forget his character's name, but they're actually brothers. They run a food truck in Spain, and they're going through all this cool stuff, showing like martial arts action. They meet Sylvia. Sylvia's like a runaway who's like recruited to be like a street prostitute, but she never actually did it. She just became a thief. So she was constantly like, bullied, but she knew how to handle herself. And she meets up with Jackie, blah, blah, blah. And she tries to steal from them. They stop her, but they actually become kind of cool friends. It's actually a pretty cool story, but it's a comedy. And
Okay.
the fight scenes are oh my God, it's so godlike, bro. So in the movie, there's the big scenario where Sylvia gets kidnapped. And then Thomas and his boy and Sammo Hung, because there's three characters. Sammo Hung is also one of the characters in the movie as well. They have to actually climb a castle. So I was like, okay, then the first level should be in Spain. Because if we're going to do that, I want to have it where the scenario is Sylvia is the same type of thing. She's a thief. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep her visual profile. But I want her to be where she is basically on the same level as Chin and Egan. But I don't want to have it where, like, I believe and don't believe in the damsel in distress concept. And this is way before everybody started to think it was something new.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You know? And I was like, what I always loved, and I would say, let me quote Streamline Pictures, state of the art, Japanese. But what I always loved is that the female characters and the male characters are always on equal footing, and nobody ended up downplaying anybody.
Yeah.
And you can see it in Hong Kong cinema also, which I always loved. So I always loved Anita Mui, Maggie Chung, Michelle Kwan, who is now known as Michelle Yeoh. Like I was in love with all of them, so, and I love the male characters also. And I never saw any difference. It was just how they solved problems based on their size and skill. So
Okay.
when I made Sylvia's, I was like, okay, there has to be a reason why Sylvia gets kidnapped. It can't be, oh, she's distressed. I have to make it where
Right.
the enemies have to be on equal footing with the fighters. So that
Hmm.
explains. So when you fight the enemies, it's like, oh, that's why Sylvia got kidnapped.
Got
These,
you.
these
Got
enemies,
you.
these enemies are on some fuck shit.
I-
And okay, I got my ass beat. Now I understand. Okay.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
because she's a girl, it's because these dudes are demonic.
You're
So
right.
that's the world I wanted to have, that constant tension. And that was what I wanted to borrow from the old school 80s and early 90s arcade games, is tension, pressure, density. Who does, like, you could look up I keep saying Digital Underground. Jesus Christ,
Electric Underground.
Electric Underground and Spider STG, what you call, shout out to both of them. They have visual essays on this. You should look. Their videos are awesome on this. They talk about it.
Okay.
And I actually believed in that before I saw their videos. I'm like, yes, I'm so glad they defined it for everybody to actually notice. So it's like a good supplement to even this conversation.
Oh, I see him. Okay, I see him here. I'm gonna
Yeah, they're
subscribe
awesome.
to
Check
him.
them out
Check
on
him out.
Twitter. Like, let them know I sent you. They're awesome, awesome, awesome.
Got you. Got you.
So I'm using their definition because they actually should be textbook definitions, because they do make sense as far as density, how
Hmm.
close enemies are, and the pressure.
Hmm.
The tension, which is the amount of feed, and the amount of tick sensitivity. Do I have it like a lot of pressure here and loosen up there? Do I have it where it calms down there? And that's
Hmm.
how you dictate the genres even of action games, or subgenres of action games.
Yeah.
So blah 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 blah. That the whole idea was to combine the best elements of Kung Fu Master by Irem.
Hmm.
Um, the theory that Bruce had. Oh yeah, and then I had to go back and start to restudy a lot of my old studies, which is, okay, let me go back and read what Bruce was meaning with Tao of Jeet Kune Do. But around the time that he started to work on Game of Death, and then this is a whole other area where I'm trying to speed this up. But another documentary you can look up is oh god, Bruce Lee, a Warrior's Journey by John Little.
A Warrior's Journey. Bruce Lee.
A Warrior's Journey. And
Okay,
this
let me
is
see.
the behind the scenes story of how Bruce Lee made a Game of Death.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
has a whole bunch of footage that is unseen. That's like the fight that has with him and Guru Dan Inosanto,
Hmm.
who's godlike, who's the godlike Kali Eskrima guy. He was the one that taught Bruce how to use the nunchaku. And he's that famous scene where Bruce is fighting him, and he's got the nunchaku and Bruce has got the whip, and Bruce has a nunchaku, and the famous
Yeah.
one
Oh, this
is
is the one with
that.
Kareem in it.
Right. That fight
Got
is
you.
extended. That the grappling session is way better in the uncensored version, in the uncut version.
Got you.
The fight with the Korean Tang Sudo fighter is better. The whole thing is way better.
Okay.
So then I watched that and I was like, okay, that pace. I need to have that pace for the final tower, so I'm going to use that. But I'm going to use a lot of that mood. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
everybody's fighting style is locked into the culture of the area. So when you're fighting Keske's area is Japanese. When you're fighting, what do you call it, Briggs, his becomes more like, I want to say like modern day street, like Seoul, Korea.
Yeah.
If you're fighting anybody that's from Hong Kong, it's going to look very Hong Kongese, like straight, like from Kowloon. So it's like, I swear to God, I really should be Asian. Because there's a lot of different textures to it, just like is with different, with different, like different Latino ethnicities.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like there's distinct differences between like Dominican, Puerto Rican, Panamanian, Brazilian. They all Latino, but it's different grades and different
Yeah.
different. And it's the same thing with Asia. Like
Right.
Thai, Laos, Korea, South Korea. North Korea, and South Korea, drastically different.
Drastic. Yeah. Right.
Then you got Chinese, which is like Hakka, Cantonese, Mandarin,
Hmm.
Japanese. You got traditional ones. You got some from Hokkaido, Osaka. Then you got the Ainu. It's like there's so many different like layers of Asian culture, like there is with white cultures, like
Yeah.
like Greek and Irish. Like this, it's too much. So it's like
Right.
when it comes
Right.
down to it, when I'm doing the character design, I always want to have those hints of it, but not beat you on the head over it like some DEI shit.
Right. Facts. Facts, bro. But you can
Uh,
notice. You can notice the differences. Like
yes,
you're gonna be like,
yes.
yes.
And I
You
think
can
that
notice
maybe
the
that's probably like the old school finesse that we had
difference.
back then that people just don't got today.
Facts, bro. Facts. I feel you on that. So, man, how's development been going?
I mean, the development is good,
Okay.
but right now, I'm not gonna lie, the stress of the finances is the stress.
Understood. Understood, my brother.
So
Understood.
everything is right now. It's pushing towards the potential sponsorship.
Yeah.
Hopefully, stuff like this can actually help. Sans all the censorship from all the f bombs.
Yeah.
Like absolute, in the market, easily say in the market for funding, obviously,
Yeah.
but want
Yeah.
to get this to the point where I can finish up Egan, finish up, we'll start on basically Egan because I already have like his base set up.
Hmm.
Start on Sylvia and also two secret characters that I have.
Okay.
But I gotta, you gotta walk before you can run. So I gotta get a lot of this done first.
Yeah, I
So the
feel you.
financing is the big thing. The development, honestly, it's a slow tick because it's just me, but honestly, it's going well.
Yeah.
The only limitations I have basically are that I'm finding what it is that I want to do. Um, what else? More so like now it's not so like I need to learn Unreal. Now it's more so like what can I do with Unreal?
Hmm.
And now it's like, okay, I'm writing my own stuff. I'm fucking up and having freaking nervous breakdowns over stuff that's breaking, even though I made the shit.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I can't even look for advice. It's kind of like, well, how do I fix this? And then somebody's like, what in the hell did you make? Like, you know what? Never mind. It's like, I can't ask nobody, because I
Right.
made it. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
counter system. Like somebody look at my counter system, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like you fabricated some crazy 2,000 horsepower thing on a Supra, but it's for a Civic. What the hell are you doing? And it's like, you know what? I'm gonna go smoke and answer that later. Never
Facts.
mind.
Facts, bro.
So
I feel you.
it's more so that's where I am now. I'm very happy.
That's
It's become
good,
more
man.
malleable. It's more so like, what do I need to add?
Yeah.
And I'm very competitive because I'm a martial artist.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a martial artist. I'm a fighting game head.
Yeah.
I did a lot of competitive fighting gaming.
Oh
So,
man, which games?
oh God, Jesus Christ. Oh, okay. So I'm going to straight up say, as far as rank, I'm going to say I am, as far as rank, let me just honestly rank myself.
Go ahead, give it
I
to
would
me.
be at best as like a mid-tier journeyman. So I'm not gonna front on that.
Okay.
However,
Okay.
if we're talking about the FGC, you got to remember a mid-tier journeyman is like somebody coming off the street and trying to get in the ring with somebody who's a mid-tier. They're still gonna beat the shit out of
Right.
you.
Right, bro.
So it's like, so this is where I am. So as far as the main ones that I played, God, I played every fighting game quite literally, even the worst ones like Killing Zone on PSX. Just
Jesus.
look it up. Just it's horrible. Horrible. So I played everything. Weapon Lord, fucking oh my god, man. Jesus, Eternal Champions. Of course, Street Fighter. I got my ass whooped because I used to come home late from school because from Street Fighter. So
She-
I got scars because of Capcom. I started playing very hardcore with like, let me think, real bout 1 and 2, more so Samurai Showdown 4,
Oh,
Street Fighter Alpha 2. Definitely, I used to play. I used to main guy Street Fighter Alpha 3, especially on PSX because I used to main guy in Alpha 3 and he was okay. But then
yeah,
PSX they dropped Fei Long. Oh
yeah.
my god! I was like, oh yep, Fei Long. That's the Fei Long.
That's the one.
Um, and I was, fuck you, Namco. God, I hate Namco now. Sorry.
Ah,
You already know the whole thing with Tekken 8,
yeah,
so you already know.
absolutely, absolutely, my man.
So, to Tekken was my religion at one time. I made
Oh
so many
man,
friends through Tekken.
is
I
that a
learned
black thing, bro? Like, why we love
it
Tekken
is.
so much?
Yes, it
Why,
is.
why
No,
we
it
love
is.
Tekken
I
so
don't
much,
know.
bro?
You know why? Because I think because it's got a bit of martial arts lore there that you can feel more so than Virtua Fighter and Street Fighter. It's
Yeah,
it's got the style, it's got the lore, and then it didn't help with Tekken 2 when they released Bruce Irvin. So they then it's kind of like a wink wink to the community in some way,
facts, facts.
and it was like they didn't do stereotypes, they just made dope characters.
Yes,
Then
man.
it got worse
Yeah.
with Tekken 3. When Tekken 3 dropped in arcade,
Yes, man.
that was, man, every arcade in the hood. I swear to God, if I saw another goddamn Eddie Gordo player,
Oh my God,
everybody,
bro.
so nothing but New York was Eddie Gordo for
Oh,
like at least the first 2 years of Tekken 3, bro. It was
yeah.
ridiculous. That's like, I swear to God, the black community contributed at least 50% of the sales to Tekken on PlayStation. When it came
Absolutely,
out,
we
I
did, bro.
swear to God, it was ridiculous. It was like, I don't know. Like everybody black I know is like, it's like if they don't play no fighting games, it's always Tekken. Like they
It's
could just be like
always Tekken.
this could be like they on some Madden only 2K shit, and it's like
Facts.
they only play that, but they to fight. I'll play Tekken. Like
I play
what
facts,
is
bro.
it about Tekken? Like I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I don't know, bro. I don't know what it is. It just clicks with us, bro. Like I don't. It just that's just our shit, man.
It is. It is. Like everybody's got a pride for it. It's kind of like if you don't know how to play spades, at least know how to play Tekken.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts, bro.
So it's like, I can't play spades, but I'll break out some fun ways. So,
Oh man,
so
yeah,
yeah,
dude,
but
that's fucking crazy.
Tekken was my main. Tekken was my main. Then I defected to Virtua Fighter for Evo. I used to play everything,
Yeah,
but Tekken was my main. It was my main go to all the time. And if there was like racing games, it was like Ridge Racer or Gran Turismo. So it was always that, always that, always that, always that.
oh,
So
okay.
I used to compete in that semi pro, and that's how I met up with LaShawn Thomas before he went when he was at FIT at the time. And
Mm.
his Xiaoyu was murderous. Oh God, I hated his Xiaoyu. It took me a while to beat him. And he used to hang out with us with me and Kazuo. He used to come over and he used to draw and whatnot.
Yeah,
And we used to listen to a lot of Kazuo's like Tekken 2 remix soundtracks that came from Japan. He used to get a lot of stuff imported. And we used to be in his house. He was in Chelsea, and it was like Kazuo's house was like our pit because we used to go from Playland Arcade in Times Square before Giuliani closed it. We used to go to Game Express in 32nd or Chinatown Fair, then go to Kazuo's house, and we still playing Tekken.
yeah. Still play Tekken, of
Like
course.
it's like 100 round matches and like Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3. It's ridiculous. All nighters.
Oh man.
And then we lived in the areas in the arcades. So it was like when the arcades closed, we go to Kazuo's, then play on PlayStation. It's ridiculous. So it's like and then up until Tekken 5, Tekken 5 DR, and then Tekken 6 came, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah,
Tekken
yeah.
6, I was like, yeah, I
I feel
don't
you.
like this game anymore. I don't. It was like I don't. It was like you look at the girl. It's like I don't know who you are anymore.
Facts.
You know, it's
Facts,
like
man.
I thought we had a relationship. It seemed like I thought you were gonna be my wife, but apparently you got an OnlyFans. Like, it was like I could. Yeah, it was. Yeah, nah, I could.
Oh man, dude, that's crazy, man. Just how much Tekken has a hold on our culture, bro. It's
Yeah,
just
it does, man. It's ridiculous, but
it's
it does.
that's crazy, man. So Yeah, I've been looking at your trailer. I've been watching your trailer, man. I watched
Mm.
it a bunch of times because it looks really fucking dope, man. And I'm loving the art style, dude. Like
Thank you, man.
the the backgrounds, the way that they just it all flows perfectly. Because usually you can tell in some backgrounds, it's like you can tell when things aren't necessarily how can I put it? You remember how in those old remember those old Hanna-Barbera cartoons
Oh yeah.
when you would like you can tell at the time they didn't have the technology to make everything perfect, but you can tell when something was gonna get used,
Yeah.
and it's like an opposite effect in some like in some of these old school beat 'em ups that I've used to play, man. And I go back and look, and I'm looking at like Streets of Rage and shit like that, and I mean, of course, there are technical limitations, man. But I'm saying all that to say that your background, the way the game looks, the way the effects, just bro, it looks so cool. It looks like an anime,
Thank you, man. That
bro.
was the mission. Like you get like I remember like how do I say it? Like around the time when I was getting into this, it was Capcom, well, still is, but they were the zenith of the push toward 2D animation in the
Hmm.
video game field, right? There was like basically a war between SNK and Capcom, and SNK had like the hardware rush. But when Capcom started to make like their hardware upgrades with like CPS2 and CPS3, that's when a lot of people were paying attention, including myself. But most especially during the Street Fighter Alpha era, when they straight up said, we're not doing pixel art, we are straight up hand drawing our work. And I knew that's what it was when I saw it, even though it was low resolution back then. And then I just studied what they were doing like a Bible.
Yeah,
I studied what they were doing like a Bible. I was like, okay, what is that they're doing? Because it looks like they're going to the next step of making things look like straight up anime, but it's a game.
yeah.
And then I found I was like, I used to go to we used to have two Japanese bookstores that back then. I found like the Capcom Bible, and it was all in Japanese, but they showed that they literally did hand drawn animation, did it on paper, scanned it in, and then just downsampled the frames and then just modified it in post. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's how I'm gonna do my work.
Yeah.
But I was like, I just kept experimenting with that, and then 640 by 480 was like the big thing at the time. It was like high resolution at the time, so I was like doing this stuff at 640 by 480. But tech kept pushing forward. We kept seeing resolutions increase.
Hmm.
Capcom started getting richer with their animation because then they started having like Darkstalkers. Then they came out with X-Men Children of the Atom, and that's when they started
Hmm.
pushing their animation much heavier, more effects, higher resolution. So I was like, okay, where they were going, I thought they're going where I thought they were going. So we're going in a higher resolution. So I was like, okay, so what's the highest resolution that's for like 10 years from now? And I kept seeing more games do it. Then Street Fighter 3 dropped, and it had at the time I think it was the highest at like 600 by 400, and to this day it has the best animation even if it doesn't have the best resolution.
Yeah.
To this day Street Fighter 3 has the best animation still to this day in any game, still to this day, especially fighting games. um but the only thing that was holding it back then was the resolution. So the
Right.
people who took that step actually was what was it? Sega's, not Sammy when they did Guilty Gear X or Guilty Gear 2 on PlayStation, or no, on Dreamcast
Oh man, I
first.
haven't heard of Guilty Gear in
Yeah,
forever.
and because they basically took what they did on PSX, and they basically the whole concept of what they did to make 2D is what we actually use as a standard now in Unreal when you think about it. But they took that to the Dreamcast, and it just had full 640 by 480 clean frames. I saw that, my jaw was on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, look how clean you can see every line. You see
Yes.
everything. You can see everything. So I was like,
Yes.
okay, that's where we're supposed to go. So whatever I need to do for the future, it's 640 by 480 and on up. And
Yeah.
then the HD era started. So the next thing was 720p. So then I started making my design documents around that. I said, okay, the standard might end up just being, whatever pad is 720p, then I'll just lock it at that. So today, to this day, the standard is between 1080 and 4K,
Hmm.
depending on what it is that you're doing. So that's the way I drew. So I was like, okay, whatever I'm drawing, I'm gonna draw like I'm drawing a regular manga, and I'm just gonna just shape the fucking thing to the screen.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we don't have RAM limitations like they were complaining about on the PlayStation, original PlayStation, because it had RAM limitations, so they couldn't do 2D the proper way, and the
Yeah.
Saturn could. And then you needed a RAM card, and they, we have more RAM than Dreamcast and the PS2. We have more RAM. RAM is not an issue anymore.
Right.
The issue now is what can you do,
Yes.
and what are the limitations based on your imagination. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna draw like I normally draw. Just there's a controller, done.
Yeah.
Like, why does there need to be a difference?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never
yeah.
understood why. There's no reason for a difference now. So that's it. It seems like it's very, because I was looking at this for so many years, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I look at it now, it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, but this is where everybody was trying to go, and where we would have been if everybody didn't just fuck off and decide to do 3D.
In fact, yeah, man. Yeah.
This is where we were going, and everybody just say, okay, just 3D everything. I was
Just
like,
3D,
oh, come
yeah, man.
on. It's like we were
Right.
right there. Like, we're right there. We can see an anime in real time now. What are you
Yes.
doing? Like, we can
Yes.
render Ghost in the Shell in real time.
Yes.
Like, why is everything need to be 3D? But
3D.
it's like, you got it.
Absolutely.
That's the word. That's the industry. That's where it went.
Man, it's so good to hear that everything is hand drawn because I appreciate art till its fullest. And I gotta ask you, I know it might ruin your mood. How do you feel about these people trying to put AI in our games and shit, man?
So, I mean, it is the thing. It doesn't really ruin my mood. This doesn't. I don't feel a certain way about it, because I look at everything pretty much from very much I guess, a classical anime cyberpunk type of mentality. It's more so like, just because people have a bunch of pots and pans in the kitchen doesn't mean they're going to be a good cook.
Right? Absolutely.
So that's why I don't care if they got AI. It's like, so, and
Yeah.
do like your work's still not going to look good. Like it's like
Facts. Facts.
it's like, because I work in film, in
Yeah.
cinematography, and I see that all the time with people who have like red cameras, and they rent out all this stuff, and I see they work. It's like, you can't light right, your composition shit, your
Uh-huh.
color sucks. You didn't work with the art department to separate everything. And I got to work with some legends like Shane Hurlbut, ASC, that they will eat you alive if you fuck up a shot. You can get
Yeah.
fired,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
and I still didn't even get a taste of what it's like at super high level, but I got a really damn good tutelage from it.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah. Yeah.
mentality is like, you are responsible for it regardless of the tool set. So I don't, in one way, I'm like, okay, they can try to replace people if they want, but it's going to be a point of diminishing returns real fast. And
Yep.
all they're going to do is just rehire everybody, and instead say, instead of replacing you, we actually need you to operate it as your one unit. It's like, oh yeah, no
Uh-huh.
shit, Sherlock. That was supposed to be the plan from the
Yes.
beginning.
Yes.
The way you're supposed,
Absolutely.
yes, the way you're supposed to use AI is you're supposed to think about it like Tony Stark. You're not supposed to be afraid of it. If you're
Hmm.
afraid of it, then you already fucking lost. The idea is that you're supposed to use it as a tool. Like, for instance, I didn't know shit about coding, but because I just kept asking so many questions from ChatGPT and
Yeah.
finding out things and so on and so forth, I didn't have it write the code for me. I just had, okay, you show me how to do it, and I'll write it out
And I
myself.
write, yeah.
I'll learn the pattern, I'll understand the method like I'm learning a game.
See, that's how
And
it's
then
supposed to
eventually,
be, bro.
exactly. And then I don't need you now. I can do it on my
Yes.
own. And then now I replicate
Absolutely.
less and less and less. And then,
Oh
unless
my
I need you
gosh.
to check something, or but the people are just afraid of it. And it's like, well, if you're afraid of it, then you weren't gonna last to begin with, homie. I don't know
Facts.
what to tell you. I don't know what to
Facts,
tell
man.
you. Again, I was bootlegging on this shit way before there was a safety zone for any of this. So all this boo-hooing, crying over this, I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'll find a way to adapt the same way I did back then. Fuck
Uh,
that.
Hey, bro, damn right, my man. I feel you, bro. Damn, man. This been a great conversation, man. This has
Thank you,
been a
bro.
good talking to you, my brother. Now, oh, I gotta ask you,
Yeah.
do you haven't? I mean, I know you say the development is still in progress, and you're hoping for funding. I mean, do you have a? Let me see. Do you have a timeline of when you would like to have a full release? Any idea?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I wish
Okay.
I could answer that question, but I would say, timeline wise, if ideally, I would like to get it done by 27.
Okay.
Because when I'm looking at the timeline of how I did everything with just the demo, when I'm really looking at it, it's like, I did a lot of shit.
Y-
But the whole framework, everything, this took me a year and some change for the whole framework, plus a bunch of characters and a single character. If I had to give it time just for Egan plus, God willing, one or two people to help out,
Yeah.
it'd be done by like end 2020. Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry, 2028. Sorry, because we're in 2026 now. Jesus.
Yeah.
I would say 2028. But I would likely be done by 2027, to be quite honest. But,
Okay.
again, depends on the funding. Once the funding gets it, it keeps the lights on. I'm able to bring people in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is mostly it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh man.
because the thing about it with everything with Legendary Heroes, and I made sure of it, is that the limitations are just solely based on my ability to keep the pen going.
Right.
The visuals are based on that. I'm not borrowing and using a ton of assets from everybody. Even the stuff that I did, I customize and do paint overs because I do concept art, so you wouldn't even know if it was somebody else's
Right.
shit.
Right. Right. I got you.
So
I got you.
so it's like it's more so like it's just I just need time. It's really it. It's
Yeah.
just need time.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah. Just time, man. Time is a valuable currency, my man.
Yeah, man. Yes, it is. You especially when you get older, you start to understand that very heavily.
Oh, boy, tell me about it. Fucking tell me about it, my man. Well, man, it has been great talking with you, my brother. Man,
Thank you, brother.
I've learned so much. And one day in the future, we got to have another sit down so we can talk about some of this shit. If you just
Hell
want to
yeah,
talk
man.
about some of the shit that y'all were doing back in the day, because I want to learn about all of that stuff, man. Because I felt like I was alone, the only nerd in the hood.
Oh man, I'm telling you, if you came to New York, especially, this was the area. Like we got to remember, a lot of the stuff that came from the fighting game community was between New York and California. Our
Yeah,
big rivalries were New York and Cali, and
yeah,
that's the main nerd capital. So almost
yeah.
everybody was fighting gamers, like hardcore anime heads. Before it was popular on VHS and bootlegs, way before. I'm talking about like John Choi early days before there was Justin
Oh man.
Wong, like early days, bro. So yeah, man. Yeah, we definitely could. We'd be here all day.
Absolutely,
We'd
man.
be here all
I
day
would
about
love to talk about all of that, man. Absolutely. So, man, I really want to appreciate you for sitting down with me, man, for my second episode, man. This was a great episode, man. I'm really gonna look back and listen to this one a lot. I love this type of shit, man.
it. Thank you, man. I appreciate
And
it.
and man, I'm wishing you much success on your game. I've downloaded the demo, so I'm gonna be checking that out tonight.
Nice.
I'll hit you up, let you know what I think. From the trailer, I'm already gonna love it because I got a soft spot for 2D beat 'em ups.
Good.
Those were my start, man. That's love
Good.
2D beat 'em up, so I'm always
Good.
gonna love those. So, man, I just want to thank you again, and yeah, man, give us your socials, all of your socials, and all of that, man,
Oh
so
yeah,
people can find you.
yeah. So you can find us. You can find me on for Instagram. This Legendary Heroes underscore official. No, excuse me. Legendary Heroes game underscore official. And for let's see, for Twitter, yeah, you can just find us on Legendary Heroes: A Game of Death on Twitter. Same thing on TikTok, Legendary Heroes: A Game of Death. So yeah, you can find us everywhere there. And absolutely, yeah, please wish list on Steam. Adding more. Finish up Briggs, and Briggs is going to be the last boss for the demo. So when I'm done, done, done. I'm lying. I know I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm lying my ass. I'm never gonna be done with this damn thing.
Well, I hope you will be soon, bro. I hope so, man.
No, it's a good thing, man. I want to be like Hayao Miyazaki, working to my old dying days, man.
Damn right, my brother. Never stop, man. Never fucking stop. All right, my man. Well, I appreciate you again, man. And you'll be hearing from me soon. I'm gonna tell you how this game is, and we're gonna be sitting down again, yo, because we got some shit to talk about. Like, we gotta sit down again, yo. This was amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely, brother. All right, man. Thank you for this. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, my brother. I'll be talking with you, and you stay easy out there, man.
All right, you too.
All right, bye.
All right, brother.